Welcome to Soul Conversations with Sandra The Podcast. And we are going to be joined by Alex Fox from Fox Wellness Den. And I hope that you will enjoy this episode. We're going to learn a little bit about energy healing, a little bit about him being a breath coach, and we will get started as soon as he tunes in and taps into us and shows up, as soon as we give him a wave. Let's see. So I want to, how am I going to say this? I'm going to slow down a second and allow my soul to give me the right words. I want to welcome you in to this conversation that is being moved by Source in, through, and as we have this conversation. He is joining the live now, so I'm going to give him a little wave. And as soon as, let's see, getting used to this whole apparatus, of finding where everything is, and we're going to get started in just a second. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to my little
Hello.
den called home. Welcome. There we go.
There you go.
I'm glad you could join me. We had you scheduled for earlier, and you had a different appointment. And we just glad that you could join us now. Let me wave at some people, acknowledge them, and we'll try to acknowledge the comments as best we can. If you have a question for Alex, please put it in the question box. All right. And if you have a question for me, you have to acknowledge who the question is for. All right. Otherwise, I will just assume it is for Alex. All right. So you know how this works? We're sitting, in my patio having a conversation. I'm going to give you, I've got one question, and then I just want you to go for it, because everything that we want to know about you and where you've been and how you've gotten to this point right now will be in this one question. And then I'm going to loose. All right. And
I'm ready.
if you give me a pause, I will jump in. And matter of fact, feel free to ask me a question if you like. That's what a conversation is all about. Okay, so what do you want us to know about your spiritual awakening? Ooh. Right? Ooh. That encompasses, for me, when someone asked me that question, it encompassed from the time I thought I was spiritually awakening, and it wasn't based on just a grandeur kind of thing. It could have been, I think I had an awakening moment when I was like maybe 4 or 5, So start wherever you want and just embrace it. Let's have a conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I find it amazing that some people have had awakenings when they were like 4 or 5 years old, and I was like, just probably playing Mario and sipping on my milk and cookies, watching Scooby-Doo.
I wasn't playing Mario. Well, and, no, I was me. Basically, I watched my mother listen to soap operas on radio. So I think was radio, yeah. and making it into visual. So that could be an awakening for some people, them remembering that, and that being energy. Yeah. So take it away.
Yeah. It's it's pretty astounding, and I had my awakening when I was basically 25 going on 26. I was going through a rough time. With a breakup, and just a lot of, I was at fault. I can honestly say that. And, I had met a guy who was just traveling in from Europe, who was visiting his uncle in South Euclid, Ohio. And he had just needed like a little bit of cannabis. And I was just like, oh, I can assist with that. We could smoke together. And lo and behold, like 8 months later, we both end up meeting each other in Edinburgh, Scotland. Yeah. And then when we were in Scotland, we were hiking mountains. And at the end of the day, when we were coming down, we had a fork in the road. And we were trying to get to our Airbnb, and was like, we could either walk around this golf course, we'll be home in 30 minutes, or we can hop this wall, go across the golf course, and we'll be home in 5 minutes. And I was like, we're going to hop this wall. So he like propels me with his hands, and then I grab him. We go over the stone wall, go across the golf course, and then we reach a side street, and we're walking down it, and it's so quiet. And then I just remember I like just stopped walking, and like my vision turns black and white. I hear wind chimes, and I turned around, and then I realized I had been here before. I had dreamt of that moment in my sleep, and it came true in this reality. And then I broke down, and I started crying, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. This doesn't make sense. Like, this does not meet the eyes. It does not meet my consciousness. It doesn't meet anything that I've ever known. And my buddy, who's like 6 foot, just staring at me like, dude, like, we just hiked the mountain, smoked a little bit of cannabis. Like, do you get emotional after that? And I said, no. And I tried to tell, and I told him what was going on. He's like, maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's just, who knows? Who knows? And I said, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And then we go home, we have dinner, and then we just kind of take it easy for the rest of the night. And then like the next morning we go back out and traveling again. And then I'm seeing deja vu again. I'm like seeing like everything and everywhere I go. It's like I've lived here. It's like I'm back from the future, basically. Okay. And then fast forward till now, it's happened. Okay. It happens every single day.
So you're living deja vu in your now moments every single day. Okay.
Yeah, in everything I do. It's super wild.
Is that because, I don't know, for me, I do. I live my deja vu, but I didn't notice it. No, I noticed it, but I kept trying to make sense of it. And then it would fade away, right? I think I was about in my 30s when I became a single mom, right? And I started not living out of I started watching my kids as they move through energy, and so a lot of the deja vu started coming back. Do you know what? And it kind of stayed, because what I started to do is I started to tap into their energy and get out of my own head, right? Does that feel like?
Ooh, okay. I like this. Yeah, because like when I went to Scotland, like I wasn't thinking about, I was thinking about home, but like I wasn't, I was so focused on like the here and now. I was so present because, everything was new to me. It's like, where are we going to get our next meal? Where are we going to go hike? Where are we going to go, sightsee? What are we going to do to relax? What show are we going to go watch? Like, it was always just like in the now moment. I was never focused too much of back home or what was happening. It was just super present.
And that's why the deja vu kept happening, because you were just in the moment all the time. You didn't give your egoic mind time to process, right? Yeah. Right.
No, nothing. And even when I tried to, it's like I couldn't, because I was always moving forward.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I keep saying wow, because for I know because of Soul Family that we're all going through this. Each is unique, but we're all going through the same process of connecting with our higher self, our higher being. But to hear you
That's right.
say that you actually stayed in the now moment while you were traveling, that actually gave you more access to your deja vu, whether it's future or something that you've done in your past with your soul. And it helps me understand those moments that while I was in all of my children's childhood, being in now with them, because they, well, I don't know, children keep you in your now moment. Yeah, because that's where they are at all times. They are really not in the past, breathing the past, or making or having judgment of the past, or even looking at the future. They're right there right now with their Mario Brothers or their games, and then they reach the high level and they turn around. Can I get a new game? I did this one. I just bought that for you yesterday. Well, today, today's today. Can we get a new one? Right? And you're in. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the days.
Those were the days, right? Those are the days when I could actually sit down and play with my kids and not be, nobody was judging me. It was just my three kids. We were in the home, and if I was sitting and playing Mario Brothers, there wasn't any other adult judging me about how I should be raising my kids or whatnot. And I'm now, as we're talking here, those now moments then, because I was very aware. You've got a question. Hold on. Okay. Can you see the question as well as I can?
Yeah. It's not a question. It's just, that's my mom.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hi, Carol. How are you?
Yeah, that's my real mom. She just says, I agree. Children just keep you in the now moment. So, and she always got us the video games, and she always played with us, and she's amazing. Really, I love my mom. Oh my goodness, we had an amazing childhood.
Really. So let's keep going. So you're on this. Please. You're going. You're traveling. You're in your now. So how did you begin to understand this was your awakening process?
I didn't. For a whole year, I had no idea what the hell was going on. I had no one to talk to. Everyone thought most people thought I was crazy. Some people thought I was taking too many drugs. Some people were like, dude, that's really cool, but no one had an explanation for me. I didn't know anyone spiritual. And then, I got this new group of friends that I started to hang out with. And, they started inviting me to music festivals and shows. And that's when I really started to break out of this shell that I was in. And I really started to kind of find myself and just dressing in different ways, spiritual and colorful and fun, and just being able to dance. I found a lot of life through dancing and a lot through electronic dance music, and it really just propelled my life. And of course there was some plant medicines too. Sorry, Mom. But those things are a huge catalyst in my journey, and it just showed me a whole nother way to appreciate and love life and see it, just for what it is and how it feels. And then that's when I came across my second spiritual awakening in Alabama, where there was a woman. She was having a drug overdose, and she was on MDMA, magic mushrooms, alcohol, and cannabis at the same time. And she was having a seizure. She was rocking back and forth in the fetal position. And I asked her, what's going on? And she just goes, I feel better just sitting down right now. And we're on the beach. Everyone's having the best time ever. And I was like, this can't be happening. What can we do to heal this woman? And then I got this download that said, a ball of energy. So I started making this ball of energy. I pretended it was a basketball. I pretended it was a soccer ball, and I was having fun with dancing. And then before I knew it, I looked at her and I said, "Hey, get ready." She's like, "Wait, what?" And I said, "Get ready." She's like, "Okay." And I jumped up in the air. I slammed this ball of energy at her. And then 10 seconds later, she gets up and she's dancing like there's no tomorrow.
All I can say is, when you have an awakening, you have an awakening, right?
Yeah.
You've got a question. At least I hope it's a question. Okay, hold on.
Let's see.
We still do. You would know more than that because that's your mom.
Oh yeah. She was talking about how we still have like amazing times together, and we're still playing video games and having fun with life.
And
yeah.
Let's see.
Thanks, Mom. Have a question next time if you can.
No, Carol, do not ever say sorry. You are not a sorry person. I remember my mother used to always tell me that. Sandy, don't say sorry. Don't say I'm sorry. You are not a sorry person. You may say forgive me, but don't say it now because you're part of the conversation and you're supporting your son. So keep supporting. Root to Crown. Fifi says, thank you, Mamie Fox, for gifting us Alexander. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So, so she's got this ball of energy. Was that easily explained spiritually through soul, or did you have to connect with someone that explained to you?
I was able to connect through source itself in that now moment, but I didn't even realize that I was doing that. That's the thing. Like it all just happened so simultaneously in each part of like asking the question, what can I do to heal this woman? And then getting the answer and then acting upon that answer and not giving it any doubt. Like I just had this knowingness like, okay, this is what I got to do. This is what I'm going to do to heal this woman, then that's what's going to happen. And lo and behold, it did. And within seconds too. And she's happy and dancing and smiling, and we didn't even like talk about it after that.
She just kind of just stepped into that energy and just made it allowed it to be hers. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And when she said okay, she accepted it, and not even knowing what the fuck was gonna happen, and not knowing what I didn't even know what the fuck was gonna happen. And we just allowed it to be, and then it ended up being honestly the best thing that could have happened.
That allows other people who are going through this and they're not knowing what it is and they think they're going crazy. And, of course, they, when they think that, you're either number one, having a conversation with your invisible friend, which is what most human beings, or the human part of the of us as human spiritual beings, will say, your voice, we need to either get you to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And instead of it being a spiritual thing. All right. So, yeah. I'm right now with a lot of, not my close friends, but friends know me, and they kind of trust that I spiritually know me. But I've got a more old school family who's into, religion being religion, the God. And you can't call God source because God is almighty, that kind of thing, so it's very old school dog. And so when I first doing this, they were saying, you know what, something's wrong with you, and the more I had a smile on my face, the more I started to become open to my gifts. I'm not going to say it was easy being open to my gifts, right? Because it's a learning curve that you have to go around your mind, right? to get to. And while you're doing, you have outside
Yep.
influences that are, you know, in their judgment and family. So you want to stay, you kind of want to stay in good graces. So, you know.
Yeah. It's finding a good middle ground. And it's funny, I had a conversation with a friend about this a few days ago, and they were just like, it's hard for me to open up about my spirituality, you know, especially like for people who've never heard of this before, never had an experience. Like, I don't even know like how to go about it, you know? And I was like, okay, you know what? Because I've done this a lot. So like with people who have like no idea like what's happening, because I'm an energy healer. So like one of the things is I always ask them, hey, do you want to feel energy? And they're just like, okay, is it going to do anything to me? And I'm just like, no, you're just going to feel it. You're not going to absorb it. You're just going to feel it and observe it. And they're like, okay, I can get down with that. So I usually have them stick out like one hand like this. And then I put my hands in between or on the outsides of that hand. And then I just start channeling energy, and they just start feeling the vibration, the energy, the warmth, the tingliness. And then that's usually like my first go-to. And then I'll usually tell them about an experience I've had, you know, like one of the stories that I've just shared. And then that gets them to like, oh, well, that's really interesting. That's a really cool story, you know? And then it just plants that seed. And then you start telling them maybe like another story, or like a little like, you know, love, you know, like love wins, you know, like maybe like how society is. And then you could say something so far out, right? Just go above and beyond, say like the most wildest thing that you can think of, like within the 5D or above, right? Like saying like how you could like channel late galactic being. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, maybe not, right? And then like when you get that far, then you go back down, and then you start sharing those little tiny ones again, and then eventually you've built up, or you planted so many seeds, and then like once it gets to that big far out one, then they're gonna have that synchronistic serendipitous moment in their life, and they're gonna be like, "Whoa, you're not the first person that's told me that. What's going on?"
Right, right. They start to have a recalling. But I like how it starts with energy, because every tap into energy,
Yeah.
it's simply because, you know, scientists have jumped on board, and they're talking more about the energy and the energy of the universe and blah blah blah, you know. So because we've learned it in school, because we got that download from society in the school thing, that you actually showing them that they could feel energy, you know, and basically we call it channeling, right? Really, that's what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, um, religious dogmatic, the thought pattern will boo boo and say channeling is evil, blah blah blah, you know. And you guys give me, sometimes my
Mm-hmm.
mouth gets so dry, and then all of a sudden it gets all the stuff all at once, and I have to swallow. But sometimes I get excited talking, you know. So forgive me. Um, um,
Exactly. Yeah, we get so high
I
talking
get
about this.
I get high. It's like I don't need it in Canada. I'm just like I I was high. I was high on
Air.
right. I mean, you could do that and blow it, and I could open my mouth, and I will be high. And you are Mountain Time, and I am Pacific Standard Time, and I still will get high. It's energy, guys. Hi, Ariel. Hi, Sun Moon. So basically, you started with the energy. I think the energy, would you say, as I was listening to you, the energy was the seed, because even though they internalized energy,
Yeah.
that energy is all around them. And it's not that they had to internalize energy, because they are energy. Do you feel that that was the seed that
Yes.
vibrated all the little stories that you were able to share with them, so that when you got to a very important larger story, they were ready to receive the seed in a little bit? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. That's a beautiful way of looking at it. Because even though I said, you say the tiny stories, you do the energy, and then you could say something so far out because it feels like that they could
Mhm.
be ready for something like that. And then it just kind of gets everyone to like kind of let loose a little bit.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, okay, like because after all those moments of like, whoa, that's pretty wild, like I can't believe that happened to you, and then you have something like maybe okay, it's just funny. It kind of like I want to say lightens the mood, but it just kind of brings things into like a perspective because then it just sets them up for something, that will be coming into their
Right.
reality because
It
eventually it
sets
is.
the
Eventually,
intentional
yeah,
tonality of what they'll be coming into, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
you you've now began to understand that you have this healing power. Okay, and we're going to call it what it is. It's power. It's the power of source through you, and you have it because source is moving through in and as you, as Alex. So now you're understanding that you have this energy. How is it? How does that begin? How does that take you from there to here now as being an energy healer, a sound healer, a breathwork coach, and a past life regression coach as well, or regression, channeler, right? How does that
mm-hmm,
get you? Because we literally we have to condense. We've got like an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm going to
right,
tell you if it gets deep, this could go 2 hours really easily. I've had some other guests who literally when I went back and looked at the footage, there was nothing I could cut it down to an hour. I just had to give it, and people will have to listen to it or listen and watch it at their leisure because all of it meant something. Source gave it all. So we're going to talk until you feel Source has given you the information that you and Source want to share. So how do you get from there at that beach to here? To
to this
yeah,
now
to this
moment,
now moment.
yeah. Amazing. Yeah, it took a lot. There was times like where like, okay, I had this healing power, but I didn't know what to do with it. Like I didn't know like how to present myself. I didn't know how to like share this with people. I thought people were gonna think that I was wackadoo, even more so than like with my dreams coming true. Like, like it was I just kind of like ignored it for a little while. And then when I started to like meet more like-minded people, then I was like, okay, so this is actually a thing, and then I started to meet one of the most powerful energy healers I've ever met, who's my soul brother from California. And I met him in upstate New York. He really started to give me like my spiritual upgrades, my healing upgrades, and really raised my knowledge and wisdom. And he really catapulted me to like a whole new dimension of myself. And then in 2020, there was COVID. But I had a few moments, or actually I had a moment where I healed a woman who had like an MDMA outer body experience at a concert. And literally within 5 minutes, I brought her entire soul like back into her body. And she was just like, I don't know what you just did, but let's go back to dancing because I feel great. And I was like, cool, all right. And then COVID happened, and then I didn't do anything. And then in 2021, more things started to happen. Um, Actually, let me rewind. There's a church called Church of the Angels back home in Ohio, and it's a non-denominational church, and they allowed Reiki masters to do like 3 to 4 minute healings on
Nice.
people during service. Yeah, so that was a really big step for me because then people started to like come up to me and people are like, wow, I really like your energy. Like it just feels different and like pure and powerful. And I'm just like, do the other Reiki masters don't feel like that? Like I don't get it. What's up with me? So, but yeah, then a lot of people at church started to take notice, and then I noticed a lot more people coming up to me. So I said, okay, this is cool, you know. But I never really advertised it. And then in 2021, when I took my journey out to California, and I love to share this one story. So we were on top of a mountain for a full moon ceremony, and it was a big bonfire. People are dancing and drumming. There's like 300 people cooking food, and it's like, this is amazing. And there's a guy in an orange toga. He was dancing, blessing people, and then all of a sudden, him and I just lock eyes. And I was like, oh crap, this is deep. And then he like walks to me. Meet him halfway, and his first words to me are, "You're remembering who you are." And I'm like, dude, I'm doing my best. I feel like I'm there, but I don't really know what's going on. And he's like, it's okay. It's already there. It's, you know, it's just really coming to fruition for you. And I said, well, I appreciate that. And then we talked, and then he blessed me, and then he went away, started dancing, blessing other people. And then about 10 minutes later, I see him just dancing again, and then I see him, like, he starts kind of screaming pretty loudly, and then he starts to, like, shake profusively, and he's, like, standing up. And then my first thought was, he's having a seizure. And then I got go to him, and I rushed over there. I put my left hand on his right wrist, and I'm feeling his pulse super fast. And then I put my right hand on his left shoulder, and I was just like, all right, just breathe. We're going to ground. Everything is okay. And then, like, almost immediately, like, his body just starts to shake little by little, not as much. And then his pulse starts going like, and then, like, just after like 10 seconds, 15 seconds of just holding on to him, he like drops down to one knee. He's like breathing heavily, stops shaking. And I have this big smile on my face. And I kneel down next to him to his left ear, and I say, I just remembered who I was. And then he looks up at me with the biggest smile ever, and he hugs me with all his might. And like my hands are like this, and I can't hug him. And he's just like, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. And I said, man, thank you. Thank you too. Like, holy shit. I'm glad you're okay. But
yeah, I love that.
yeah,
I love when souls connect with, you know, we as human beings don't understand that our souls have been around for a very long time. They've been interconnected with each other, if not in the seat of the our higher being, the creator of all. Our souls have been there. It's a part of source, and they've been traveling this wonderful universe. And when they connect and identify each other, they feel, I believe, they feel the need to help us recall.
That's why past life regression healings are so important.
Okay.
Like you got to experience one.
I did.
Me, right?
And after, I started after that, I went into meditation about the place where you said it was. And I can share this with you now because Source tells me it's time. Where you saw it was someplace in Africa. Source says he's kind of sort of correct because of the visual that the translation that your soul was giving to the visual, that the visual part of it. Mm-hmm. But it was not Africa. It was someplace further on. No, like Middle not East? Of this planet. And it was like,
okay.
What do you mean? I just in my meditations, I ask questions. So I go, what do you mean? What are you trying to tell me? I mean, I already know that my soul has shared with me without asking that my soul isn't a young soul. It isn't young like we that it's
Mm,
it's
right.
old as far as going back to the Egyptians and back a little bit further than that as the beginning of Earth, right? Or this galaxy. So it was like, and did you, I want you to notice something. Remember, there were three that your soul was trying to choose to give you as far as past life. You kept saying, this is interesting because there's three. And then left, you said, oh, I'm going to DM
Right.
you because I think that's a more personal thing. And Source says, no, he's not going to DM you about the other two because this is the one we wanted him to share with you. And I said, oh, okay. And then Source, now he gave you the information you wanted to have. Now we're going to take it a step further. And the thing was, Source says,
Okay.
it's not time for you to share it now with his gift, with the gifts that he has, because you go further than that. Your gift can transcend what human time, what we consider human time to be. It's more galactic.
Yeah. Especially with all these different realities and planets and times, you know, like another planet could look, or another part of a planet could look exactly like Africa, but it's definitely not Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's so true.
That's your gift.
Yeah.
That you transcend time. You transcend dimensionals when you're doing these past life regression. You're powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You're
I know. And thank you.
Okay, let's I don't know, did we miss let's go back to see if we missed it. Sun Moon said grand rising Sun Moon. Hi Blue. Okay, where Lake says you see
Hi,
you
Blue.
in Egypt. Is that I see see me in Egypt? Oh, what happened? You left? Let's see. He left. He'll be back. Hold on. I'm going to invite him back. There you go.
Sorry. My bad.
Oh, I just went and invited you back. Hold on.
I was trying.
Lakeside, I see you in Egypt. Is that you, Alex, or is that me? That's you?
That might be me. I remember someone telling me I had a past life in Egypt at one point. But I wouldn't doubt that you would too. But
it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it comes to me because I don't ask. Don't get me wrong. I like my now moments. I like this time that I'm living in this body.
For sure.
And I think because I don't ask, because I don't focus on it, I think my soul says, okay, I'm going to give you glimpses, right? Because I don't want to get attached to that because I want to be here, you know. So when my soul gives me glimpses, it's for a reason. It's to show me something. And yes, I know one of my past lives has been in Egypt, but I just haven't been shown any of those glimpses yet. I just have that feeling that I am. You stay in Egypt. You stay in Egypt, shine through your eyes. Hold on a second. I think you got a question, and this might explain it. Hold on.
Blue says I'm from an outer.
It's from.
Ooh.
It's for you. It's how old do you think your soul is?
Wow. How old do I think my own soul is? Wow, and that question coming from my mom, that's
deep.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I think it's probably got to be it's got to be so many lifetimes, you know, like I feel like I've done so many things, you know, I know I'm part of the Galactic Federation. I know I'm part of the Palladians. Like it dates back, you know, and like I even had a past life where it dates back to being, you know, in the same timeline as Jesus, literally being in the same circle as him. And I know that to be true because I've experienced it in my dreams, and I've even had other people, like I had 4 different people all tell me I had the exact same past life, and all 4 of those people don't even know each other.
Wow. Blue says very, very ancient, like before BC. That's what she's saying she feels. It doesn't necessarily be that one. And Lakeside says 19,000 years. Specific, okay?
Yeah, that's wow.
Wow. You know, I mean, if we put a time limit on it as human beings, and we do that, you know, we have to do that.
Yeah.
We're very curious about that as far as human beings.
For sure.
All my soul keeps saying is it's beyond galaxies, and that's how they register time. It's in galaxy energy. So, you know, my soul is. I'm sorry. I'm listening to I'm listening to source. Give my soul, and my soul is just chuckling. It's I'm sorry. It's all relative, based in the energy. It's all relative. It's if you want to call my soul is saying, if you want to call me an old soul, go ahead. But I'm young. I'm young in that oldness. That's the translation that I right. So
we don't want to be called old in this reality, right? But like, because we want to be young, forever young. Rod Stewart, my mom would love that.
Yeah.
Forever young. That's Rod Stewart, right?
Pardon?
Is that Rod Stewart?
You got it right. You didn't get it wrong. You have to double think.
Okay, cool. My mom will be happy then.
Yeah.
If I would have said like Bruce Springsteen or something, she probably smacked me across the.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful question, Mom. I'm really, really honored that you would say a question like that. Thank you.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Let's see. Lakeside says, give or take 1,000 years. He says 19,000. He says, give or take 1,000 years. I love that. You know, Mom, we're gonna be besties, right? We are, because I do remember Rod Stewart. You know, I remember his. Yeah.
YouTube will get along for sure.
Right. Yeah. So let's keep going. Okay. Yes, so energy healer, sound healer, breathwork coach, past life regression. You're at you teach Reiki. Okay. Ancestry manifest. I'm gonna say take it away.
You said ancestry manifester?
Is that well, look, I try to look up and know a little bit about my guests, and when I looked at the bio, it did say ancestry manifester. So let's go.
I don't know if I misworded that, or if that was like or maybe that was like one line and then the other line, because I don't even know what ancestry manifesting is. Oh, wait, say that one more time.
Tell me what you think you meant to say. I believe it's part of the past life regression. It's part of just saying that you manifest, you help people go back into their ancestry, into their family line, you know. So, but I like that title. I think it's deep, and I think it may have been a mistake, but I think it's the vibration of you. That's what my soul.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I've never called myself that, you know, but I do ancestral trauma healing. That's something I do. I do assist people in manifesting things. Like I am my own like manifesting generator, and I can, you know, like when I tell, or when people tell me, oh, I'm like manifesting this and I really want to do that. And I'm like, dude, it's already yours. Like, I wholeheartedly believe in you on every layer of my conscious mind that you are able to manifest that and more, and that you already have it. And then people will literally get their manifestations within like days.
Wow.
After like me just telling them that, because I carry such a powerful energy and frequency within inside me, and people will legit have no reason not to believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have no doubt, then that's present. That's energy. That's consciousness.
Yeah.
That's source.
That's source. That's
Yeah.
right. But my soul just gave me the reason why it's ancestry, because when you're showing people how to manifest them when they get stuck, and I don't know if this is if it's the soul, from soul to your soul, defining that what you're doing and helping people when they're stuck manifesting, and why they're manifesting what they believe is the wrong thing. You have to go back generations to find out why they're stuck in that, because they're told a certain thing that keeps them stuck. Either it's a certain thing. My soul is saying, use the example, money doesn't grow on trees, which is, you know, every parent everywhere who has told their kids, when their kids ask for, you know, the skies, when the kid thinks sky's the limit, and their parents look down at them and go, you know, money doesn't grow on trees. Which basically, that's a other reason, other way of telling the kid, you know, you're getting it, you know.
Yeah, money doesn't come from everywhere.
Right.
But it does.
But it does.
Yeah, money
right?
does grow on trees.
Yes. Money does grow on trees. Money is everywhere, vibrationally, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I think maybe you might go and change your bio to word it the way you meant to word it, or maybe just the way that soul chose for me to read it in there. Doesn't mean you anything. Is soul is saying, this is the question that I really want you to ask him, you know. And I think that soul and sources, you're about to find out some more powerful things about yourself. So,
well, I'm moving to Colorado in a few weeks, and that's it's like going to be like the biggest transformational growth of my entire life.
yeah. Right. Let's see. Hello, Jeffrey. And let's see. Your mother says, I work in a garden center, and yes, money grows on trees. Yes. Well, you know, once it made sense to me, I used to say that as a kid, and it used to stump the adults that I was saying. It's like when they would say money doesn't grow on trees, I said, but yes, money does. And they, you know, they would just be stumped, and they would tell, my mother's name was Ann, and they would say, you know, Ann, would you kind of, you know, children shouldn't be it's okay for them to be seen, but they shouldn't be heard. Could you take her in the other room? And my mom would just go, no, she said money does grow on trees. You wanted to explain it, or do you want to dismiss it? And then, you know, now my mom, I think now I understand that my mom, she may not have known it, but she was living on the edge of creation, not knowing that she was a vital creator. And that,
yeah.
Okay, because I grew up in the 60s. Okay, yep. So I was born at the end of the 50s, and my mother grew up in like the 30s, and she was born somewhere at the end of the 1920s. You know, the 30s and 40s, and or somewhere about then. So then that kind of stuff wasn't talked about, but she was still vibrating it, you know.
Okay.
So you know, so at least my uncles would say, okay, Sandy, explain it. I said, and I would tell her, I said, money comes from paper, right? Yes. Paper comes from trees, right? Yes. Money does grow on trees. And, you know, of course it makes sense, but, you know, not necessarily in the sense that they're seeing it, because money grows on trees. They're talking about the prosperity of them having it or not having it, or how hard they had to work for what they did get. And if they didn't have enough for everything to go around, then of course the saying that was handed down from generation to generation, or in this case, they're considering ancestry, all down to our ancestry. Money doesn't grow on trees, therefore we have lack, right?
Yeah, because people are literally thinking, I don't see $100 bills growing on trees. Like,
Yeah.
money doesn't grow on trees. And it's like, well, if you put it the way that you just said it, yeah, it does. Or if you have this new abundance mindset, right, of 5D and above, then it literally does, because you're only raising your frequency to be more abundant and have prosperity flow to you easily and effortlessly, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody remember, if you have a question, put it in the question box. Put it in the question box. Yes. So the fact that you mentioned 5D, tell me where you go with that and how that's part of your healing process.
Absolutely. So when we're talking about 3D, we're talking about, like, obviously it's like a perception. It's like the American dream: have a house, get the white picket fence, you know, your car, the 9-to-5 job, the family, and all that. I'm not downplaying it. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, because obviously I grew up on it and I really enjoyed it. It was life, you know. But like this new 5D, you know, being in an energetic standpoint, being of love, being of service, and having equality, you know, and knowing that you can heal yourself from anything, you know. It's having a knowingness that you are divinely guided and protected and connected with source. It's like it's not being in fear. It's not having lack. It's not having the anxiety or like the worries of like, oh, I don't know, because I don't know what's going to happen to X, Y, and Z to me in the future. You know, it worries me because I may not have control over it. And then like when I do, it might be too late. You know, like in this 5D mindset, it's just like, oh, we're here right now, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and we're ready for it. And, you know, it makes us grow, and we don't really have to, you know, feel like we're less than.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's helped me on my healings when I get people to rise up into those frequencies, because as soon as they surrender to my energy healings, they've already accepted their fate. And it's like, okay, let's rise.
Let's rise. Okay. Nigel says he would like to hear about sound healing. So.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. Sound. So for me, the sound healing that I do is with tuning forks. And this is what I use. So we have the throat chakra, which we're doing a lot of right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are energy frequencies with sound.
And whenever you get a release, you always have a hiccup. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Always. Yeah. And this one's at the 141.27 hertz frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So most people would consider the throat chakra being at a higher frequency of I think it's 714 or 741, something like that. But these are a little bit different. They're more toned to like the lower parts of your chakras, like different energy points in each chakra. So and then I actually have another set that actually is with the chakras as well, just like at a higher frequency. But like when we're able to coexist with them, you know, like bring in like both frequencies for both chakras, then you really start to see even more healings and more energy, more light codes and different states of consciousness. Like that's why I love to do the breath work and the sound healing and the energies, because when you're experiencing all these different things, like you're leveling up in different ways, because they all do different things for your mind, body, and soul.
Greetings, goddess. Thank you for calling me a queen. I receive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So let's see what the next question is. All right.
Cool. I'm glad there's questions. I love questions.
Okay. So Krista says, how do you open yourself to source?
Amazing. How do I open myself up to source? I feel like I do it in a few different ways. Like, actually, prime example. So last night it was about probably about 9:30. I just got done with the coaching energy call, and I was like, okay, I need to step outside. I'm just gonna relax for a little bit. And this was before I came on live with Kevin and Sandra Lee and Pete. Shout out to all of them because I think they all were in here at one point. And when I was outside, I started talking to myself. They were just like, I just was like, Alexander, like, you got to be a lot more digital with your diet. Like, remember like how your diet was like when you first moved to Texas, you were vegan, you were clean, and your stomach and like your lower chakras were just so happy. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, but remember that your mind wasn't totally happy. You were still going through some dark nights of the soul because you were still kind of fearful of how things were going to work out and everything. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And they're like, well, now it's different. Now your lower chakras, are kind of suffering because of like your diet a little bit because I haven't been eating the best, but it's okay. But your mind is so happy right now. Like you're literally in this state of bliss like all the time, So like as above, so below. Now you get to do that. And I'm telling myself this. Actually, my higher self is just talking through me. It's just because I stepped outside and I sat down and I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just super present. And it just felt like I needed a conversation to myself. And then my higher self just spoke right through me. And I was able to say a lot of great things. And they're like, you should go raw as much as you can with as many fruits and vegetables, have like one cooked meal every now and then. And yeah, so that was one way I opened up the source, which was me not even really knowing. But if you want to truly know, then I recommend just getting into a meditative state, kind of like how Sandra did with like asking questions. Sometimes I like to turn my Reiki on so I can be like in a higher state, like, give myself energy, and then I can vibe right up to source energy just like that. And like ask questions that way. And yeah, even when I do Reiki sessions for other people, you definitely get connected to source like real easily. Like you could be like, oh, do I have any messages for so and so? And then I will literally get so many messages. So yeah, but being a Reiki master had really helped me dial into my intuition even more, and also hanging out with people like Sandra and Blue and Felix and Shauna Lee and Energy Soul Child and Kevin and even my mom too, and other people like us. It's really a blessing when we can do that, because when we surround ourselves in an inanimate environment with people who are like us or even stronger and better and more of love, then it gets easier to maintain this frequency.
Right. Okay, so let's see. Mother Creates Daughter says discipline, humility, and total surrender to the will of the Most High. Yes, I do believe that, because I believe that I do say thy will is my will and my will is thy will. And I just resonate in the fact that the creator of everything, the creator of manifested and unmanifested, created us so that he, it, they, and I call them they.
Yep.
Have created us in their image, light, power, love, and we flow with the gift of this body and mind to have a free will. So thy will is our will and our will is thy will. So when you're saying what does God will us to do, think about what you want to do in life. Because for me, I believe that our higher being that we can call it Almighty God, we can call it source or awareness, we can call it the matrix, we can call it illusion, doesn't matter, um, uh, uh, wants us to say what we want us to be the creator. And then when we say it out loud to the universe, to source, in us, moving through us, get it? I'm saying it every which way that it can be said, is when we create that will, source says yes. Source will never say no to you. Source will always say yes to you. So whether you create from positive energy or whether you create from what you call negative energy, source will say yes to you. That's the will. That's the will of all of the universe in any galaxy, everywhere. That's what I have been given, and that's what I resonate in. But it doesn't have to be what you resonate in. You have to find that vibration for you. It doesn't. We're all here as spiritual beings, getting these downloads, right? Books, and we're doing the videos, and we're doing the audios, and we're doing the Reiki, and we're doing the the translating or allowing source to speak through us, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that that's going to be for your greater good. You do still have to be responsible for you. And like Mother Creates Daughter says, it's creating perpetually. Yes. You're creating 24/7, regardless of whether you think you are, or not, regardless of whether you're conscious of it or not. 24/7, you are tuned on to this universe. So your question, how you get in contact with source, is when you ask your embodying question. You decide what that's going to be. Everybody else can give you an example, but you works for you and for your greater good. I hope that helps on my part. But I also want to know, because we're at the hour, I'm going to say 3 words to you, and I want you to go for it. Motivation, time, and consistency.
Motivation, time, and consistency.
They can be all in one thought that you want to share, or they can be individually.
My motivation is being of service, getting people to not be in anxiety, not be down, not to, like, I don't want them to not have hope and not have faith, that things can work out better than they can ever expect. Like this one woman, she reached out to me, and like we talked, she wanted my services, money wasn't good, and I still helped her. And, she's like, oh, I'm about to be kicked out of my house. And actually, I don't know why I'm telling this story. I'm getting a little thrown off there. But I'll finish it just because I started it. And she's like, I have 30 days, about to get kicked out. Like, and I said, okay, well, let's see what's possible. Like, let's manifest like a clean house, beautiful, affordable, close to everything that you need. And she's like, okay, cool. And other things. And then like within like the next 60 days, she's like, hey, all of that came true. So like my motivation to be of service, because I know that people have the power to manifest, and even if they were never of the 5D or never had an energy session in their entire life, they just had proof in the pudding that it was possible to manifest. So that's my motivation. My time is so important, like I feel like I'm doing more these days. I'm like connecting with like more people to see how I can like get my brand out there more. How can I, get myself out there without putting too many things out there, like to overwhelm people, but enough where like I'm consistent with what I'm trying to, or what I am putting out there with being, this energy coach, life coach, and Reiki master, sound healer, breathwork coach, and all of that. And yeah, and I put myself out there. I teach classes in person. I host events online. I haven't done that in a little while, but I feel like I might try to do 1 or 2 healing events a month. We'll see. And yeah, and surrendering. I put my motivation, time, and consistency into surrendering to the universe, because that's basically what I've done since the end of 2021, when I didn't have any place to basically live. No offense, Mom. It's all on Dad. Um, and that's why I had to go to Costa Rica. It was like the only place that it rang true. It felt like that was going to be my new home for a little while, and it was for 2 months, and then it really changed me. So those 3 words for surrender saved my life.
Okay.
And evolved my life.
Okay, and I'm listening to Source, and it's wonderful to be a fly on the wall listening to Source in my soul.
Yeah.
Because the reason why is because Source and soul are one, right? So, but when my soul translates to me internally, my soul said, make the last question about light language. And I said,
What about?
but the thing was, my soul isn't giving me a question. It's just saying light language, right? So, of course, you know how I feel about my light language. It's one of many new gifts that that I surrendered. I mean, surrendered and allowing. It was something that I asked for. And the thing is, I asked for it as an adult, yes, but I even asked for it as a child when I was going through my religious journey and going to different churches and finding information about basically about where I fit in.
Okay.
Moving from religious dogmas that were no longer for my greater good, and where I fit in with the new story of how I'm going to actually put my life on the screen of awareness and create from. And I didn't know, saying that now, that was not what I was saying. It was just as a teeny bopper, anytime something backed me up against the wall and it didn't make sense, I say, nope, what next? Got to be more, right? And it took me into a holiness church. And that's the first, as a teeny bopper, that was my first introduction to it. It was called speaking in tongues. That's what most old school religious people call it, tongues. But that was my introduction into light language.
Okay. Wow.
So, and there's the question. Your first introduction in light language and using light language when you do your Reiki or you're healing for people. When did that happen? And I know that's going to take us past the hour mark, but you let me know when you need to leave. Okay.
Okay. I have about 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I had played around with light language, like kind of like by myself sometimes, like not really knowing what I'm doing or anything. But I will say this. So I think most people in here know about Soul Brother P from the UK, and I was on a live with him and Lynn P and someone else. And then I remember Soul Brother, he was telling me, he's like, hey, Foxy, you going to do some light language for us? And I said, maybe one day. I don't know when or anything like that. And he was just telling me, it's like, dude, it's there. It's like, it just really wants to come out. And and then there was just, talking, and they were talking. And then during the live, I was about to head out. And then he's just like, okay, bye, Foxy, you take care. And then I said this one line, and I said, Chocolato. And then I immediately signed out. And then I went back into the live, and then I caught like the tail end of it. And I saw myself saying like Chocolato. And then Soul Brother P's like, that cheeky bastard. he He says one line and then leaves.
Yeah.
That was so funny. And then after that moment, I was practicing for like the next like 20 minutes or so of just light language just by myself. And I was feeling it. I was like, oh, I am super confident in my light language now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the catapult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Soul Brother P. I'm gonna tag him in this.
Okay. Let's see. Mother, he needs to have some children. Oh, wow. And she says he's so sweet. He needs to have some children. Hey, what is gloss glossolalia? I'm not sure what that means.
Glossolalia. I don't know either.
Yeah. Would have to. Mother creates daughter. You would have to explain that a little better to me. I'm not going to assume that. I don't want you to think I know what you mean. It's probably something really simple. Hi, Cran. How are you? So
I hope it's not some type of lip gloss.
Oh, really?
I hope it's
Maybe.
not. I don't know anything about lip gloss. So.
All I know is I put it on my lips when they're dry. That's about as much as I know. I mean,
Okay.
I put over my sometimes over my lipstick because I wear matte lipstick and it's kind of dry. Sometimes it shines for a minute and then all of a sudden it gets dry. But that's, I digress because because we were talking about that for a minute. But anyway, so well, I think we've covered a lot. So
Oh yeah.
we're going to close this. I'm going to close this with 10845 and thank everybody in the room for joining us in this conversation, for being part of a part of a conversation that's soul, source, and the two humans that are conversing back and forth to each other. And it's wonderful. I tell you, it's wonderful being on a fly on the wall when source is listening to me. Fifi says 10845. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Before we leave with the last 10845, tell everybody where they can reach you. And I mean, not just Instagram, wherever you are, tell them.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook and YouTube at the Fox Wellness Den. I have a website as well where you can look at some of my services, and that's also getting revamped and itemized and everything, so it can really be more of service and more accessible for people. And that's www.thefoxwellnessden.com. And also shout out to my mom because she created the name for me. So yeah. And yeah, that's basically it. Just shoot me a DM. The energy sessions I do are powerful, and like I just signed up a guy to do a Reiki session from Rwanda, Africa.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how far I'm getting, to across this planet. I mean, we've done Australia, we've done, Europe and South America and America, but getting to Africa, like I've done Ghana or Ghana and now Rwanda, it's like, yeah, the international energy healer.
Yes. Yeah. Wonderful.
It's so.
And yes, Mama Carol, we love the name too. We love the name, the Fox Wellness Den. I love it. I just, a den means cozy and vibratorily loving. I learned that from when I watched a nature program that were talking about the dens of bears and everything. And actually, one of the people that was narrating used that term, and it just stuck with me. So
Beautiful.
right. Krista says thank you. I can you see the comments like I can?
Yeah.
Great. So Alex, I want to thank you so much for your vibration and what you bring to the world, not just to Instagram, but to the world. I want to, I'm sorry. Source is saying not the world, the galaxy. So we will just go further than that. Bringing to the galaxy. I believe that there are beings that are tuning in to the frequency of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you, Sandra, for being who you are, shining your light, being of service, and just sharing all your gifts with us. Like, it really is a blessing, and I'm so thankful to know who you are and just to be around you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are welcome. I am learning how to not say it's source, it's all source, because source is saying learn how to give thanks for me being the body that's allowing source to move through me. So I will say thank you. I wanted to say something to your mom because I want to thank her for who you are. She's a big part of that. She is a big part of that. She truly can be very proud and very loving of who you have grown to be as a spirit being in this human form. And all your growth, Alex, is giving to all of the universe. It's so massive and so large that it vibrates to everyone everywhere, in every form, everywhere. It started with her. I give thanks to her. Yeshishyo no tuku ai ne e, pushana te kisha. Te oshanda kisho no tuku dai. Besha ta e. Mia tushana tuku a. Tena tatai. Blessings.
Magic and blessings. Wow.
Blessing.
So much for saying that. That was really mesmerizing and very wholesome. And we accept that. I know she does too.
I don't know what that buzz was for, but hold on. I think that buzz is saying we've got a question. I think. May you follow me? You need not ask. Please be part of my family. Thank you.
Oh, did my mom ask that?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, Mom definitely, for sure, followed her.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mama Fox, for Alex. He is a beautiful being. Phyllis, that was from Phyllis. So, Alex, you are on your path. If you ever had any doubt, the doubt has been erased and surrendered and transformed from source, and it's energy all around you.
Yep.
Lean into it.
I best believe I am.
All right.
I ain't going.
So with this, I say 10845. Thank you for joining Soul Conversations with Sandra, the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And much love and blessings to everyone in this room and to all the beings who surround you.